Hi, once again, I'm Sydney, and I am a servant of the Almighty God. I am also the author of Humanity's Inflection Point, as well as Spiritual Renewal and Understand, Improve Self and Society. All of these books are part of the inspiration that I have gotten over the years, and these inspirations have kind of gotten to a point where I feel that it's really the culmination of what started when I was a teenager, really. In this episode, I want to focus on what we as spiritual people who recognize the Almighty, should be focused on. Because there is so much, religions have been so divisive in our history. It's been the most divisive things. And this basically has led me to be thinking about this, and to this episode, which is basically focused on, we must focus on worshiping only the Creator. We should also honor his prophets, because we have gotten all of this divisiveness. If you think about it, all religions are based on the words of his prophets, those who were inspired by him or sought truth. And the truth always comes back to, there is a Creator. This entire series, which culminates in the inspiration and recognition of intrinsic intelligence, which is present everywhere in nature. By the way, I want to make mention of an interesting video that's available on YouTube, and I'll put a link up to it as well. It's in the mind of plants. Because when I saw this, and I realized, wow, it's actually out on YouTube. Again, it's in the mind of plants. It's the culmination. All of this is coalescing around the concept of, not only did our Creator create DNA, right? And like I'm putting in my writings, and is that along with DNA, so all living things can be considered as a unique DNA configuration. And I'm using some based on my IT background, which again was important to get to this point, right? Is that along with the DNA, which basically controls or is responsible for the physical aspects of all living things, from moss to us and all the plants, everything, he has embedded. So he has designed a program, a unique program for each configuration. So every species gets its own program. This is why spiders know how to spin web, and fishes know how to behave, even the fishes that change sex. There's a lot of fishes, I realize, wow, a lot of fishes, they change sex based on need. The males get hooked or they die or whatever. Then the females will transition into a male. Check it out. Google it. You will see it's all there. But the point is, all of these things, all of the DNA, all of the unique programs that enable a honeybee to make honeycombs, for the corolla spider to recognize quartz and use it, or that initial program that had to go into each species was designed and then embedded into each species by our Creator, the Supreme Being, the Almighty God. None of his prophets were capable of that. None of his prophets were capable of that. And even though they sought and brought his message to us, We should honor them, but we must recognize that critical difference. The Creator is the Creator. They all brought the message and the basically ask us to renew our covenant with our Creator. That's what this is about. This is why it's so unfortunate. If you look at some of these, and I'll just focus on some of these Christians who are now talking about a murderous Christ coming back with an AR-14 to murder, to slaughter. Could you imagine that? Now, contrast that with the message, the knowledge that we are receiving now about nature being the manifestation of God's omnipotence. Do you see that? Do you see the Creator, the manifestation of His omnipotence in nature, embedding this unique program into every species? So a squirrel knows, a fish knows, a horse knows, plants know, our immune system knows, our digestive system knows, embedding these programs somewhere in memory, right? We can't even understand memory. Do you see that God who loves us, who embeds this knowledge that enables us to thrive and grow, so that now we can question His existence? But when we look back to this intrinsic intelligence, it brings us to that point where we will see science and religions converging. Now, it doesn't mean it will be smooth, because religions today are focused on the past. They cannot recognize God and the living God in everything around us. But we'll get there. You and I, we are on that journey. We can recognize that through intrinsic intelligence, we can recognize the living God. This is who we should be worshiping. This is who we should be crying and building our relationship with, not with our pastor or cleric or rabbi. They are men like us. Even His prophets who brought and the call for us to renew our covenants, they were men. They were not responsible for intrinsic intelligence being embedded in every species, in every living thing. They were not responsible for the design of DNA. They were not responsible for the creation of the periodic table and all the elements in it. All the forces, the subatomic forces, they were not responsible for that. We need to get back to worshipping only the Almighty God, the Creator. And guess what it does when we do that? We have turned each of His prophets into ours. We color them the way we want. We speak of them as if they are ours. And so we become very clannish. They are like us. And within a clan, unfortunately within clans, we then make special rules for those who are within our clans. And this is why we can have a violence, because it's okay. We have genocide, we have all these murders, because that's okay. Because for some reason, the prophets that we identify with our clan, it's okay with that. Matter of fact, that those prophets can become violent like us. But the Almighty, who they all taught us to renew our vows, renew our relationship with, does not condone this violence. He gave us the commandments, one of which is, thou shalt not kill. And the first of which is, thou shalt not create any gods before me. But we do this constantly. We are now worshipping the prophets. We are worshipping the prophets. And so we need not to be about hate, but to recognize, to learn, to be educated, and to learn love and devotion to the Almighty. Because then all religions, regardless of the prophets that they follow, would recognize the prophets are about the Almighty. They were inspired to teach us the principles that He would have us live by. So it comes back to, like nature, it works for all of us. Nature being the manifestation of God's omnipotence. So, like nature, we see the manifestation of God's omnipotence. We see the intrinsic intelligence that he has distributed and given embedded in all of us. This is he has given to us freely, but it also binds all of us, the trees, every plant and every animal. We are recognizing now as part of his. And so we are not focused just on we, some special people, but we as part of his creation. And so we, with our special attributes, our education, the special gifts, can become the good stewards that we should be. This is a message that I plan to take on the road, because I know it is from the Almighty that we learn to love, that we learn that everywhere in this world we recognize his omnipotence, we recognize his design, and it is time, because it is irrefutable. Intrinsic intelligence that we can recognize in nature is now irrefutable, because we as creators are embedding intelligence into our creations, and we can recognize the supreme creator has embedded his intelligence into each and every one of us. So we need to recognize that we should not be focused on worshiping the prophets. We honor them, we thank them, we are grateful for them, but we look at the messages that they brought, which came from the Almighty. And so our worship, our praise should only be to the Almighty, the Creator, those that they also worshipped. So I want you to think about this, and as we go along, I will be starting multiple things, because I want to get this message out. I may get into seeking online funding. I may try to do crowdfunding, because I want to get this up on billboards. I want to get them in every area of social media, so we start recognizing this is not for one group. This is not for just you and me. This, like nature, applies to everyone that's alive today. Everything that's alive today. Because his intrinsic intelligence is in all of his creations. And so this is just, this can be, immensely synergistic, where we add 1 and 1 and we get 5. But it has to start, and I feel so blessed that I got these inspiration to start this. I hope you would join me in getting this out, so that this becomes something that changes our entire civilization and make us more God-fearing. Because when we recognize his omnipotence, we have no choice. We have no choice, because we recognize the power of the Almighty God. So look around, and like I said, soon I will be starting these things, trying to get this message out by all means possible. I would love to have billboards as we drive along. It's be out on social media, it's be in every form of media, because this is his world. And we can all contribute to bringing all people together, all people. I still say all people. I think about our brothers and sisters, the Uyghurs, the Rohingyas, everybody, everywhere, the awareness, because we are all part of this design. We are all his creations. And it may take a while, but he has enabled us through revelations of the capabilities of silicon. And people like myself who program and we do this stuff of disseminating this information across the world, we can get this out there so that people realize and wake up to the power, the love of our Almighty Creator. I want to thank you for taking the time for viewing this, and remember, there is no coincidences here. It's a series of decisions that you made that got this message to you. And so hopefully in time, with his blessings, we will get this message out everywhere. Once again, I thank you, and pick up a copy. Pick up a copy. Even the spiritual renewal, renewing our pact. That's my first book that came about 20-something years ago, about 20 years ago. and understand, improve self and society. That's in my second book. And this new book, Humanity's Inflection Point, this is what will occur in His time with His blessings. But we all need to contribute to this. Thanks again. Until next time, may God bless us all. Thanks you.